this part of our financial literacy chapter is talking about paying for college. All right, so even though that may seem like a long time from now, it is never too soon to start thinking about college and how you're going to pay for it, because it is very expensive. All right, so there are many ways to pay for college. One way is to set money aside in something called a college savings plan. And this can be done by you. It can be done for you by a parent or a grandparent. All right, another way to pay for college is to apply for student loans. So there are loans specifically for people who want to go to school or go to higher education. And so a loan, just like any other loan, is borrowed. That means it has to be repaid. And usually it's going to have interest attached to that. So sometimes, because education is expensive, but it's important, a lot of people will take out loans knowing that they'll have to pay it back with interest, but they decide that it's worth the education they're getting. And we'll talk more about that in class 2. All right, consider options that can help pay for college, not requiring repayment. All right, so these are the best ones right here. When you can pay for college and not have to repay it, that's a good deal. All right, so there are some of those out there. Some are called grants. So that's an award. That's something you, let's see. Yeah, that's something you're given by a nonprofit organization, and it doesn't have to be paid back. So a lot of times this is tied to a type of financial aid. So let's say, you fill out an application, and they look to see, well, how else would this person pay for it? Do their parents make this much money? That kind of stuff. Do they have anything in savings? And if they determine, you know what, this person needs help, we're going to give them a grant. So there's somebody out there who is trying to help out people trying to do that. They're going to just give you the money, and it's usually based on need. So we're going to write that. Okay. So grants are great because you don't have to repay them, but you have to qualify for them in some way. And usually you have to show a need for those. All right. And another type of way you can pay for college is with a scholarship. And scholarships are awards, but they're usually tied to performance. All right. So this can be for any type of performance, music, athletics, grades even. And so a lot of times you can get a scholarship based on something you do well, all right? And again, scholarships are great because they don't have to be repaid. But there's sometimes, things attached to them, like you don't get to keep your scholarship unless you make this high of grades. So you need to make sure with a scholarship that you know the conditions of keeping that scholarship. All right, and then the last one says blank is a program providing financial aid in return for student labor. This is called work study. And so a lot of colleges have students that work at the school, and so they give them financial aid for doing their job. And so that's not money they have to pay back, but it goes straight to whatever they owe the school. And so again, so you're kind of working your way through school, but that's better than having to borrow it and then pay interest on it. So that's a good way too. All right, so let's look at these problems here. It says determine the amount that needs to be paid. So 4 years of tuition. Tuition is the cost of going to school, college. And so if you're going to do that for 4 years and it is $12,800 per year, then you're going to need that times 4. So let's figure out what that would be. Okay, 3, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 11, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So you're going to need $51,200 if you're going to go to this school for 4 years. All right, number 2, the tuition is $14,850. All right, and then in addition to that, you have to pay for room and board. So this tuition is the cost of the school. But if you live on campus and you want to eat, all right, then you're also going to have to pay the $3,785. And that looks like maybe this is just for 1 year. So we're going to add these two things together. So $14,850 plus $3,785. So here, plus 5 is 5, 5 plus 8 is 13, 15, 16, carry your 1, 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 3 is 8, and then the 1. So $18,000 $635. So if this is just for 1 year, that's kind of it. And that may be a private school. It's pretty high for tuition. All right, number 3, 4 years of tuition at $2,820 per year, and 4 years of room and board, $3,100 per year, and a scholarship of $10,000. Okay, so you're going to need tuition times 4, and you're going to need room and board times 4. Okay, but then the scholarship is helping you pay for that, so we'll see what to do with that in a minute. So let's figure out the tuition. 2,820 times 4, 0, 8, 32, 3, 4. Okay, and let's figure out the room and board. 3,100, 0, 0, 4, 12. Right, if we add these together, you get 0, 8, 6, 5, 5. All right, so that's the cost of 4 years of paying for the school, and then the 4 years of, just your housing and food. Okay, but you have a scholarship of $10,000, and it looks like that's the total. So we would subtract that, because that's helping us pay for school, to get 0, 8, 6, 5. So instead of owing $55,000, you're only going to owe $45,680. Okay. And so, what would you do with this amount? Well, this might be the amount that you would have to, if that's your only scholarship and you don't have a college savings plan, and, you can't do work study or something like that. So you're either going to have to get a job and earn this much money, or you're going to have to get a loan and pay that much money back with interest. All right. So it may be worth it in the long run, because you're going to get a better job and be able to hopefully pay that back sooner than if you didn't go to college and had a lower paying job. So that's how people justify that. All right, number 4, you've got $11,100 in tuition, so that's the cost of the school, and then $2,400 in a grant. So a grant, right, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. So that's not something we owe, that's something that's helping us pay for school, so that's going to be a decrease in what we actually have to pay. So 0 to would be 11 minus 4 is 7, 10 minus 2 is 8, $8,720. So the cost went down from 11,000 to 8,000, so that's a good thing. So again, that's the cost that you're going to have to figure out how to pay for if that's you after the grant is applied. So on number 9, it says Jessica wants to go to a 2-year community college with an annual tuition, that means for the year, of $9,890. Jessica has saved $8,350 for college, and she earned a grant of $3,400 for her first year. How much more does she need to pay the tuition for both years? All right, so let's figure out her costs first. If it's $9,000 per year and she wants to go 2 years, then we need to multiply that by 2. 18, 16, 17, 18, 19. All right. She's got this much saved, so $8,350. And she got a grant. That's a good thing that she doesn't have to pay back. So $3,400. So we're going to add up what she has. She has $11,750. All right. So what she needs to, what more she needs is the difference between these. So let's subtract the 2, and we get 0,308. She needs another $8,030. All right, and number 10, it says Frank borrows $6,000 to pay for his tuition. The annual interest rate of the loan is 5.4%. How much interest does Frank owe at the end of 1 year? All right, so annual interest rate means for the year. So we need to figure out this percent of 6,000. So remember, we could use a proportion, but when we're doing percent of a number, we can also just change it to a decimal, and of means multiply, so we'll just multiply. So if I take 5.4%, change it to a decimal, and move it 2 places to the left, that becomes 0.054, and that's what I multiply times 6,000. So 4 times 0 is 0, 0. 4 times 6 is 24. Start with a 0. 5 times 0 is 0, so 3 of those, and then 5 times 6 is 30. I'm going to have a row of zeros. My total looks like 324,000, but there are 1, 2, 3 decimal places, so 1, 2, 3 decimal places here. So at the end of a year, his interest payment is $324. Okay, so $6,000, but he's going to have to pay that back plus the interest. So he'll actually end up, so his interest is $3.24, but what he's going to end up paying back is $6,000 plus the interest, $324. On number 11, it says Stanley wants to attend a 4-year university with an annual tuition of $11,400. Stanley has $12,800 in savings for college. How much more does he need to pay for the tuition for 4 years? So at first that looks really good until we figure out, oh, that's just for 1 year and he's going for 4. So we need to multiply 11,400 times 4. 0, 0, 16, 5. So 45,600. He's got this much in savings, so we can take that off. We're subtracting it, so 0, 0, borrow. 16 minus 8 is 8. That's a 4 now. 4 minus 2 is 2. 4 minus 1 is 3. So he's going to pay back, or he needs an additional $32,800. And that's tuition. So unless he's living at home, then he's also going to have to figure out a way to pay for his room and board too. All right, Marcus borrows $16,500 to pay for his tuition. The annual interest rate is 4.8%. How much interest does Marcus owe at the end of 1 year? So again, annuals for 1 year, it's 4.8%. So when we change that to a decimal, we move it 2 places to the left. That's 0.048. We're finding percent of a number, so we can just multiply. 16,500 times 0.048. So 8 times 0 is 0, 0, 8 times 5 is 40, carry your 4. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 4 is 52, carry your 5. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 5 is 13. Start with a 0. 4 times 0 is 0, 0. 5 times 4 is 20, carry that 2. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 2 is 26, carry the 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. Okay, and then this next row is all going to be 0, so I'm going to skip that part and add these up. 0, 0, 0, 2, 9, 7. There are 1, 2, 3 decimal places here, so 1, 2, 3 decimal places is what I need to move over. And the question is, how much does he owe at the end of 1 year? So this is the interest, $792 just for 1 year. Okay, so if he plans on going to college for a couple years, maybe 4 years, then he's going to have to pay this back if he borrows the same amount. So that times 4 and this times 4. Okay, so again, college can be expensive, but there's help out there. You just have to look for it. All right, so we'll talk again, like I said, more about this in class. And then don't forget on the DAC, tonight you want to find an adult or grandparent or neighbor or teacher or somebody, older sibling, something, and ask them, what is a salary? What is lifetime income? Number 3, in general, what effect on income does education have? And number 4, is salary the only thing to consider when choosing a job? Why or why not? So get their answers there and be ready to share them in class. All right, see you soon.